My name is Ben Dorman. Welcome to Asian Ethnology Podcast. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking about the reasons why I decided to launch this podcast, together with my co-editor, Frank Coram of Boston University. But before that, I'd like to say something about the history of the journal and my association with it. I began to work on the journal as the associate editor when it was known as Asian Folklore Studies in 2003. I had just graduated with a PhD from what was then known as the Graduate School of East Asian Studies at the Australian National University. I worked under the then editor Peter Knecht. Although my training was not in anthropology or folklore, these areas have always been of great interest to me, and I incorporated elements of them in my own research. Peter Knecht is a member of the Society of the Divine Word, or SVD, which is the largest missionary congregation in the Catholic Church. When I met him, Peter had been editing Asian Folklore Studies since 1980, when he took over after the sudden death of the first editor and founder of the journal, Matthias Eder. Matthias Eder, who was also a member of the SVD, founded the journal with the help of the Society of the Divine Word in 1942 in China, and named it Folklore Studies. After the communists assumed power in China in 1949, religious organizations, including the Catholic Church, were repressed, and Eder was forced to leave the country, eventually relocating to Japan. He continued to work on the journal, but eventually received some financial support from Richard Dawson, the founder of Indiana University Folklore Institute. This support lasted for some 10 years. And Richard Dawson, at the time, had a number of Asian students, and he sought a forum to publish their work. So Eder agreed to change the name of the journal to Asian Folklore Studies in 1963. He was also able to receive a steady stream of contributions from these students. In the mid-1970s, Eder joined Nanzan University here in Nagoya, Japan, which was founded by the Society of the Divine Word. From that point, Nanzan University supported the journal with financial and institutional backing. Peter Knecht took over the journal in 1980 and edited it until his retirement in 2006, and a fresh shrift honouring his contributions was published in 2007. In 2008, Scott Schnell, an anthropologist based at the University of Iowa, and I became co-editors of the journal, and we decided to change the name of the journal to Asian Ethnology. So having presented the history very briefly, I'd now like to discuss the reasons for launching the podcast. Firstly, during my time as associate editor and then editor, I've had the wonderful opportunity and privilege to come across a number of individuals whose work either appeared in the pages of the journal over the years or whose work will appear. I wanted to provide a forum for these people to tell more in-depth stories about their research. So I see the podcast as an opportunity to pass down knowledge in an oral form, if you will, and my intention is to interview contributors to the journal, past, present, and future. Secondly, producing a journal takes time, dedication, and effort, and I wanted to allow those editors and fellow travellers the opportunity to discuss their involvement in the journal. In a sense, by interviewing these people, including former editor Peter Knecht, I wanted to record a version of the history of the journal, in the words of those who worked to produce the journal. Finally, in my position as editor, I meet with many scholars and individuals whose work has not and may not ever be published in Asian ethnology. Yet what they're doing with their research, and to a certain extent their lives, aligns with my personal interests as an editor, researcher, and interested observer. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the episodes of Asian Ethnology Podcast.